Now for some analysis is Arturo Lopez Levy in California. He's a Cuban economist and an author. Arturo, your reaction to what we expect to hear on Wednesday?
Ozzy, this is a watershed moment in U.S.-Cuba relations. This has been a problem, a very conflictual relationship for more than 50 years, as Michael and Jean already described. This is not the end of the process of normalization. It is a major step to normalcy. Total normalization will obviously require the solution of important claims from both sides, but the fact that tomorrow the chief of the U.S. section in Havana is going to give a letter from President Obama to the Minister of Foreign Relations in Havana, and there will be some message between President Obama and President Castro, is opening the gates for a process that has no precedence in the relationship between Havana and Washington.
Arturo, is there anything specific the Cubans want to hear in this announcement on Wednesday?
Well, I think that already they feel that this is a major achievement for Cuban nationalism. Last week I was in Washington in a meeting, and the chief of the Cuban interest section went there and he made a speech to a group of us, and he emphasized that this is something that it's impressing a lot on the Cuban government and the Cuban people. And obviously they are preparing for this moment for quite a long time. They have a new poll for the flag raising ceremony. But in addition to that, something that you need to take into account, that now there are a lot of technical issues that need to be solved. For instance, consular relationship, because before the rupture of the relationship, Cuba used to have more than 15 consulates in the United States. Now they have only a consular section in the Washington office.
6 days and counting. Talks on Iran's nuclear program now extended for another week past the June 30th deadline. CCTV's Richard Bestic reports from the talks in Vienna on the sticking points in the negotiations and a threat to walk away from the deal.
The announcement of a week-long extension to the June 30th deadline came shortly after the return from Tehran of Iran's lead negotiator Jawad Zarif. He spent an hour engaged in one-to-one talks with US Secretary of State John Kerry, but "We had a good chat," was all Kerry was saying. The delay indicates negotiators are struggling with key issues, among them UN access to Iranian military sites and the timing for the removal of sanctions. In an indication of the tension at the talks, US President Barack Obama said America would walk away unless they succeeded in shutting down all pathways to an Iranian nuclear weapon.
I will walk away from the negotiations if, in fact, it's a bad deal. If we can't provide assurances that the pathways for Iran obtaining a nuclear weapon are closed, and if we can't verify that, if the inspections regime, the verification regime is inadequate, then we're not going to get a deal.
Iran concedes talks over its nuclear program have hit difficulties.
I think the negotiations have reached a very delicate stage. We can make progress, but this will require political will, and a lot of work will need to be done at this stage.
The July 7th deadline comes days ahead of a returning US Congress, allowing Kerry to present a deal in time to prevent further delays. But missing the June 30th deadline could be viewed with skepticism by some members of Congress. With questions about the new deadline now settled, speculation here at the talks will turn to how workable it is and, of course, how much damage has been caused by shifting dates. Richard Bestic, CCTV, at the Iran nuclear talks in Vienna.